You need to watch this if you crave chills down your spine. Welcome to Soul Studios. Here, true crime meets the unknown. Suspense lurks in every shadow, and supernatural forces whisper from the dark. We craft chilling, edge-of-your-seat short stories inspired by the eerie, the unexplained, and the most haunting mysteries. 3 new stories drop every week, each one darker than the last. Are you ready to step inside? Subscribe now before the next story finds you.
Imagine the perfect anniversary. Candlelit dinner, cozy cabin, the person you love most sitting across the table. But tonight, beneath the smiles and loving glances, lies a terrifying truth, because both husband and wife have deadly plans. As secrets collide, what should have been a celebration quickly descends into a nightmare neither could have imagined. This is no ordinary evening. This is an anniversary from hell. If you love stories that twist your mind, chill your bones, and keep you looking over your shoulder, then you're in the right place. Subscribe to Soul Studios and ring that notification bell, because once the truth comes out, you'll wish it hadn't. Some anniversaries are unforgettable, for all the wrong reasons. I sit alone at our candlelit dining table, heart thudding in my chest. The cabin is quiet tonight, almost too quiet. Outside the window, the forest is ink black, and I catch a faint reflection of myself in the glass. Wide eyes, forced smile. The anniversary cake is half melted, and 2 wine glasses gleam between us. It looks like the perfect romantic evening we'd hoped for, but something is not right. My hands tremble in my lap as I wait for my wife to return from the kitchen. I take a slow breath, trying to steady myself. This is fine, I tell myself. Be normal. Everything okay? A voice behind me. Her voice startles me. I jolt and nearly knock over my glass. My wife stands in the doorway watching me with an odd little smile. There's a tension in her smile that I doubt anyone else would notice. But I know her too well. I see the slight tightness at the corners of her mouth. She's holding the wine bottle by the neck. For a split second, the scene feels surreal. The warm light, the beautiful dinner, and both of us standing here pretending nothing's wrong. I force a grin. Yeah, I'm fine. Just hungry, I say, lifting the bottle. Shall we pour the wine? My voice sounds almost normal. Inside, my nerves are screaming. I can feel a tiny glass vial pressing against my thigh from my pocket, a terrible secret weighing me down. She glides to the table and sits across from me. The chair legs scrape the wooden floor with a long creak that echoes in the silence. We clink our plates together, politely complimenting the food we each prepared. Her eyes flicker to mine when I'm not looking, and I quickly glance away when she meets my gaze. My throat is dry. I swallow hard and reach for the wine. To us, I say softly, lifting the bottle. To us, she repeats. Her voice is gentle, almost loving, but I catch a quiver beneath it. She looks radiant in the candlelight, just as she did on our wedding night years ago. That memory twists in my gut with guilt. How did we get here? There was a time I would have done anything for this woman, and perhaps I still am in a twisted way. I pour the deep red wine into her glass first. My fingers shake as I fill it nearly to the brim. She doesn't seem to notice. She's distracted, fiddling with her phone for a moment. The screen's glow lights up her face as she silences it and sets it aside. No work calls tonight, she murmurs. Just us. My stomach flips. We promised each other no interruptions. Out here in the woods, there's barely any signal anyway. It's supposed to be just us. How bitterly fitting. I nod and pour my own glass. The rich smell of the wine mixes with the savory aroma of dinner. It should be appetizing, comforting. Instead, I feel slightly sick. Hidden in my sock, there's an empty packet from a certain powder I ordered off a sketchy website. A poison derived from an exotic plant, potent and untraceable. The forum had promised. I'd spent weeks researching for this, combing through dark web forums and crime anecdotes for the perfect method. Now, at the moment of truth, I can barely keep my hands steady. She lifts her glass. "Happy anniversary, darling," she says softly. Her eyes glisten with emotion or something else. For an instant, I feel a pang of doubt. Is that sadness I see in her face regret? My heart lurches unexpectedly. I fight the urge to scream or cry or confess everything. Instead, I mirror her, raising my glass. "Happy anniversary," I echo. The rims of our glasses clink together. A clear, bell-like note that hangs in the air. We both take a sip of wine. The dry, bitter taste mixes with the dread on my tongue. I lower my glass, watching her intently under the candle flame. She swallows and smiles at me. I smile back. For a moment, nothing happens. The conversation resumes, awkwardly at first, then easing as we reminisce about happier times. Maybe it's just the wine warming my chest, but I start to feel almost normal. We laugh about the rainy night we first met, recall the ridiculous dance at our wedding, all those little memories that couples collect. Our words are sweet and gentle. If a stranger peeked in, they'd see only a loving husband and wife enjoying an intimate evening. Yet under the table, my leg bounces with anxiety. I keep checking my watch when I think she isn't looking. 5 minutes since the toast. 10. My plan should be unfolding by now. Why isn't it? The dose I slipped into her glass was small but lethal, calculated to cause a quick, silent heart failure by dessert. She should be starting to look faint, complaining of dizziness, but she looks perfectly fine. More than fine, actually. A rosy flush on her cheeks, eyes bright. A horrible thought worms into my mind. Did I misdose? Did the poison fail? Suddenly I notice something odd. My own fingertips are tingling, slightly numb against the cool surface of my wine glass. My heart skips. A bead of sweat rolls down my temple. I try to flex my fingers and feel a slight tremor. Why am I? I glance up at my wife. She's staring down at her plate, pushing food around absently. There's a tension in her shoulders now, as if she's bracing herself. Does she feel ill or guilty? My mind races. Could she have known? I clear my throat. "How's the wine?" I ask, voice tight. My hand trembles as I set my glass down. There's a faint metallic taste in my mouth that wasn't there before. Panic trickles through me. She looks up with that strange smile again. Her eyes flick to my barely touched glass, then back to my face. "It's lovely," she says softly. "I'm so glad we opened this one tonight." A heavy beat of silence. The candle flame wavers as if caught in our shared tension. I watch as she lifts my glass from the table and takes another slow sip. My stomach plummets. In that instant, I realize the awful truth. We've switched our glasses. At some point during our toast or our conversation, we must have set our identical glasses down in front of each other by mistake. The glass I just drank from was meant for her, and the glass she's sipping was meant for me. We've each just swallowed our own poison. My mouth opens to say something, confess, warn her, anything, but suddenly my tongue feels too thick. The room tilts. That faint tingle in my fingers spreads like wildfire up my arms. No. This can't be happening. My vision blurs at the edges. Across the table, my wife's smile has vanished. Her face goes slack with confusion and dawning horror. She knows. Oh God, she knows. "You," I croak, but my jaw is stiff. The word comes out garbled. I lurch up from my chair, sending it clattering backward. She stands too, abruptly, knocking over the wine bottle. Red liquid spills across the white tablecloth like blood. For one absurd moment, we both just stare at each other, swaying on our feet. I see fear in her eyes now, and pain, and something like betrayal. My knees buckle first. I grab the edge of the table, but my grip is useless. My arm isn't responding. The muscles have locked up. I crash to the hardwood floor with a heavy thud, landing on my side. A shard of broken glass from the fallen bottle bites into my palm, but I barely feel it. Above me, my wife opens her mouth in a strangled gasp. Her wine glass slips from her hand and shatters, splashing red across her legs. She wobbles, reaching out for the wall, and then collapses as well. I watch in helpless terror as she crumples not far from me, her body hitting the ground with a sickening thump. Then silence. I'm on the floor, cheek pressed to the cold wood. I can't move. My limbs are leaden, my muscles utterly unresponsive. I struggle to blink and manage only a slow, dragging twitch of one eyelid. I'm paralyzed. A wheezing, high-pitched sound escapes my throat, half groan, half whimper. It's all I can do. Across from me, my wife lies on her back, eyes open wide in shock. Her chest rises and falls in rapid, shallow pants. She's alive. We lock eyes, both of us completely immobilized. I can see tears pooling in her eyes, spilling down her temples into her dark hair. I want to scream at her, demand answers, but I can't form words. My own breathing is fast and thin. The room feels like it's spinning, and my heart hammers painfully. I don't know how long we lie there in mutual silence, our ragged breaths the only sound. Eventually, the initial wave of panic recedes just enough for cold realization to set in. Neither of us is dead, but neither of us can move. Whatever toxins we ingested, they haven't killed us outright. Instead, they've locked us in our own bodies. I recall reading about poison hemlock, how it causes creeping paralysis, leaving the mind alert as the body fails. Socrates died that way, fully conscious as the poison slowly froze his limbs. Is this our fate? I try to regulate my breathing. My fingers are starting to tingle painfully, and my joints ache against the hard floor. Across the room, the candles still flicker on the table, utterly unchanged by the catastrophe that just struck. The smell of spilt wine and our dinner's rosemary seasoning mix into a nausea that swirls in my stomach. This wasn't how tonight was supposed to go. It was supposed to be quick, clean, merciful, in a twisted sense. Instead, we're both trapped in a nightmare of our own making. From the corner of my eye, I see my wife's lips quiver. A faint sound comes from her, maybe my name, slurred and broken. Her face contorts with effort. She's trying to speak to me. I focus every ounce of willpower on my own mouth. Why? I manage to rasp. The single shattered word costs me everything. My throat burns and I lapse into silence, chest heaving. Her eyes flash with anger and despair. You, first, she breathes out, voice barely audible. A tear slips down my cheek now. I don't know whether it's from physical pain or absolute misery. Probably both. There's no hiding it anymore. We tried to murder each other. On our anniversary. The cruel irony wrings a weak, strangled laugh out of me, or perhaps it's a sob. It's hard to tell. Our shallow breaths and the quiet tick of the clock on the mantel are the only sounds in the cabin. Minutes crawl by. I can't feel my legs at all now. Only a dull heaviness remains. My vision pulses at the edges, but I refuse to pass out. If I do, I might never wake up. I fix my gaze on my wife to assure myself she's still alive. Her chest still flutters with quick breaths. Her eyes are open, darting around in helpless panic. I can see the question in them, the same question hammering in my skull. What do we do now? We receive no answer, only the indifferent chorus of the night outside. A lone cricket starts chirping somewhere in the walls. The refrigerator hums in the kitchen. Otherwise, the silence is immense. Seconds stretch into minutes, minutes into hours. At some point, the candles burn low and sputter out, one by one. The cabin is swallowed by darkness. Time begins to lose meaning. I'm not sure when I noticed the pain in my throat. It might be hours or days after we collapsed. My muddled mind can't tell. It's a raw, burning thirst that only grows. We haven't had a sip of water since the wine. My tongue feels like sandpaper and the inside of my mouth is so dry it hurts. Thirst. That most basic need roars to life, insistent and brutal. I never knew it could be this agonizing. The paralysis holds us prisoner. We can't get up to get water or even reach the melted ice in the champagne bucket inches away. I can't move my arm to wipe the sweat from my brow or the tears that occasionally leak from my eyes. My body has become a cage. Sometimes I hear my wife whimper softly or moan in pain. It's the only sign she's still alive. I can't comfort her. I can't even comfort myself. I just lie here on the hard floor, cheek in a sticky puddle of spilt wine, and endure wave after wave of thirst, hunger, and pain. Daylight comes and goes through the curtained window in a wash of grey. When the morning light first crept in, I dared to hope it was all a terrible dream. But the ache in every muscle and the horrible dryness in my throat quickly shattered that illusion. Dust motes dance in the pale sunbeam that falls across the table, illuminating the overturned chair and the broken wine glass shards glittering on the floor. It looks like a crime scene photograph. In a way, I suppose it is. My wife's face in the daylight is drawn and ashen. I can see her better now. She's managed to turn her head just enough that we're almost looking at each other directly. Her dark eyes are bloodshot and wide with fear. There's a crust of dried tears on her cheeks. I want to tell her I'm sorry for everything, but I can't. The words remain locked behind my teeth. Maybe she knows. Maybe she can see it in my eyes. As the hours drag on, hunger gnaws at me, but it's nothing compared to the thirst. My stomach clenches and growls, the smell of the untouched dinner now sour and rotten in the warm daylight. Flies find their way in through a crack in the screen door. I can hear them buzzing around the plates and the wine puddles. At one point, a fly lands on my cheek. Its tiny legs skitter over my skin. I desperately want to flinch, to scream, to swat it away, but I remain deathly still. A faint wheeze escapes my throat in frustration. Eventually, the fly leaves me, joining its brethren feasting on our ruined anniversary cake. Sometime later, I fade into a half-conscious haze. Darkness, light, darkness again. The days and nights blur together in a feverish nightmare. I slip in and out of tortured dreams. In one moment of delirium, I swear I hear soft music playing, our wedding song, as if from a distant radio. In another, I see a shadowy figure standing over our table, saying tsk 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 in disappointment. When I wrench my eyes open with great effort, there's no one there. We are utterly alone. I lose count of how many times the sun rises and sets. My body is failing. I can feel it. The initial paralysis has mercifully faded slightly, or maybe I'm just so dehydrated that my nerves are misfiring, but I still can't do more than twitch a few fingertips. Certainly not enough to save myself. My head throbs constantly. My lips are cracked. I can taste blood from where they've split. Each breath is shallow, my throat too parched to draw a deep one. Across from me, my wife looks equally dire. Her skin has taken on a sunken grey tone. She no longer whimpers or moans. She just stares at the ceiling or at me with a vacant, haunted expression. On what I believe to be the 6th or 7th day, a thunderstorm rolls in. I come to awareness in the evening to the sound of distant thunder rumbling and the flash of lightning illuminating the cabin in stark white light. A gust of wind must have blown the front door open, or perhaps I left it unlocked and it's been pushed ajar. In any case, rain sprays in through the doorway, spattering the floorboards. The scent of wet earth and ozone is so fresh, it's almost painful after days of stale air. Water. Rain means water. A desperate, last glimmer hope ignites in me. If only I could get a few drops. The door is only maybe 10 feet away. Outside, I can see the rain crashing down in sheets just beyond the threshold. If I could crawl, roll, anything to get my tongue to those puddles, but my body refuses. I manage a pathetic spasm, nothing more. A silent scream of frustration echoes in my head as the cool rainwater pools just out of reach on the floor. I'm tortuously close to salvation, yet impossibly far. Lightning flares again, and in that moment, I catch a look at my wife's face. To my surprise, her eyes are closed. For one terrible second, I think she's died. But then I notice the slight movement of her chest. Perhaps she's just lost consciousness. Perhaps it's a mercy. That night is the longest of my life. The storm eventually passes, leaving the cabin once more in thick darkness. Cold air seeps in through the open door. I'm dimly aware of feeling colder, but even my shivers are weak. I drift in and out of a daze. At times I think I hear voices, people whispering just outside, or the phone ringing from somewhere deep in the house. Once I even think I hear my own name being called by a familiar voice. I strain to listen, hope flaring, but it's only the wind playing tricks. The mind games have begun. I don't know how I'm still alive when help finally comes. By all logic, I should be dead from dehydration or organ failure. Perhaps the poisons interacting in our bodies slowed our metabolism to a crawl, keeping us teetering on the brink. Or maybe sheer willpower and hatred kept us alive far beyond natural limits. All I know is that I awaken. If such a word even applies, it's hard to say I sleep in this state, to the sound of distant shouting and the unmistakable crunch of boots on gravel outside the cabin. At first, I think I'm hallucinating again. But then a new sound joins in, barking. A dog barking, growing louder as it approaches. My heart, feeble as it is, lurches. This is real. Someone's here. I summon every last shred of strength and manage to turn my head a few degrees toward the open doorway. Red and blue lights dance across the trees outside, the flashing lights of a police cruiser. Relief floods through me, nearly overwhelming. They came. We're saved. Police! Hello? A man's voice calls out from the darkness beyond the door. A brilliant beam of a flashlight cuts through the interior, sweeping across the living room. Is anyone here? Another voice, a woman's, joins in. Sir, check over there. The flashlight beam swings wildly. I see it illuminate the far wall, then the table, then, at last, us. It passes right over my wife's prone form, then over mine. I blink against the harsh light, waiting for the shout of alarm, the rush of footsteps to our aid. This nightmare is finally ending. They've found us. But nothing. The light pauses for a fraction of a second as it hits me, then continues on, indifferent. The male officer steps into the cabin. I can see his uniform now, the radio crackling on his shoulder.
Copy 506.
He shines the light directly through the space where I lie. His boots squelch on the damp floorboards as he walks right past my wife and me. He doesn't even glance down. It's as if he doesn't see us at all. My blood runs cold. I must be hallucinating again, I think frantically. He has to see us! We're right here. I can't turn my head enough to follow him, but I hear his footsteps in the kitchen, then coming back. The female officer steps in now, her silhouette appearing in my limited view. Her flashlight sweeps over us too, pausing at the toppled chair and broken glass. Looks like nobody's been here for a while, she says. Place is a mess, but no sign of them. No sign of us. She's looking right at me. I can see her face now. She's young, with concerned eyes. Those eyes scan the room, passing over my broken body without recognition. I try to scream, but all that comes is a ragged, voiceless exhale. Why can't they see us? Are we that emaciated, camouflaged against the floor? It's dim in here, but the flashlights, the officers talk in low voices. I catch fragments. Friend reported, never returned calls, must have left. My mind reels. They truly don't see us. It's impossible, and yet it's happening. They think the cabin is empty. The male officer even shines his light directly into my wife's open, unblinking eyes and doesn't react. I feel a terror deeper than anything in the past hellish days. Maybe we did die, I think wildly. Maybe we died sometime during the delirium, and now our souls are just haunting this place, stuck watching our bodies rot. Perhaps the police only see our corpses and assume we're just lifeless objects? But no, the officers show no sign of noticing any bodies at all. Not even a cursory check. It's like we truly aren't there. I sense movement to my side. With monumental effort, I shift my eyes. My wife's fingers twitch ever so slightly against the floor. She's still alive, barely, and she knows they're here too. In her eyes, I see a flicker of desperate hope as the light passed over her. Now giving way to abject despair as the officers turn to leave. They're leaving. No, don't go! We're here! Help! My mind howls a silent plea. I concentrate everything on moving. Just a toe, a finger, anything to make a noise. But my body betrays me utterly. Only my heart races and my eyes stare wide and wet as the officers step back onto the porch. Must have just up and vanished, one officer mutters to the other as they descend the steps. Car's still here, but no sign of a struggle besides that spilled wine. Maybe they walked out into the woods or something. Lightning ignites in my brain. They saw the spilled wine. They saw the mess, but not us. It's as if we're invisible. My sanity strains under the weight of that realization. This isn't just paralysis or hallucination. This is something far worse, far more wrong. The female officer sighs. We'll file a missing persons. Not much else we can do tonight. I hear the dog whining, reluctant to leave. It smells us, I realize. I can see the German Shepherd mix at the door, ears perked, looking directly at my wife. He lets out an uneasy whimper. For one blessed second, I think he'll run to her, that the officers will follow. But the handler tugs his leash. Come on, boy. Nobody's here. The next moment, the door swings shut. Their voices fade. The engines of the cruiser start up outside, and the strobing lights spin away through the trees. They're gone. I am left in darkness again, the after-image of the flashlight still dancing in my vision. We were inches from salvation, yet completely unseen. A strangled, hysterical laugh bubbles up inside me. It comes out as a faint gurgle. This is it. This is our eternity. On the floor, I think I hear my wife finally let out a shuddering sob. Or perhaps it's just the wind picking up again outside. In the end, we are nothing more than silent watchers, two poisoned lovers, locked forever in mutual blame and regret. We intended to take each other's lives, and instead we've lost everything but consciousness. I can't close my eyes. I can't cover my ears. I can only stare into the darkness where my wife's shape lies, and she stares back at me, both of us unseen and forgotten by the world. Each passing second stretches like an eternity, and in this eternity we remain, paralyzed together and utterly alone. Some gifts you can never take back. In the end, the silence of our anniversary became our eternal punishment, two souls bound by betrayal and a darkness no one else could see. Now we linger, invisible and forgotten, prisoners within our own regretful minds, because some secrets, some deadly gifts last forever. Some anniversaries last an eternity.
Every story has an end, but here, the mysteries never stop. Thank you for watching and being a part of this journey into the unknown. Your support keeps these stories alive, and there's plenty more waiting for you. We drop 3 new stories every week, so if you crave suspense, the unexplained and the downright chilling, make sure you're subscribed and ready for what's next. Until then, keep your lights on, your doors locked, and remember, some stories stay with you long after they're told.